What is up, guys? It is me, Real American Politics, back again with a new video. And today I wanted to take a look at what the 2024 Battleground Map is currently looking like. I plan on doing this type of video like once every couple of months because things are starting to shift in the political spectrum. So if you don't know, gas prices are rising and the economy is falling to crap. And I wanted to make a video detailing what I personally believe is the Battleground Map as of now for 2024. So let's get right into it. And again, I'm considering pure toss-ups within the tilt margin, right? Like, for example, let's say that the state will be won by a half point. That's a pure toss-up. Now again, some of these states may be considered toss-ups, but they're not really quote-unquote real toss-ups. They're like the semi-tier fake news, this phony toss-ups everybody talks about. These states I'm about to mark as like safe, likely, or lean Republican, they could be considered toss-up to an extent, but not the pure, hard-nosed, down-the-wire toss-ups that these states are. So let's get right into it. So we're going to start with the safe states, work our way to likely states, and work our way to lean states. For the Republicans, Alaska will be safe. Now, biggest reason I say this is oil. Oil and energy. That's a big thing in Alaska. People forget about what's huge in Alaska. Oil. And energy to an extent. So I personally believe that's just going to kill Democrats, especially in 2022. And it's not going to be pretty for them. I do personally believe Republicans will win the state of Alaska by 15 points no matter who it is. If it's Ron DeSantis, if it's just anybody, essentially. I personally think it's a safe Republican. Utah, Idaho guys, the people that say these are toss-ups like Montana, they're living in 2008 or they don't even have a brain. They're safe. Kansas will still be safe, though it's the suburban trends around Kansas City will continue to get a little bit tighter than usual. Missouri is safe, guys. Don't be like that pleb on Twitter that said, "Oh, Missouri is a bellwether state." Yeah, someone said that on Twitter. Don't go look that up. You would lose brain cells. Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana is safe. Iowa is safe. Guys, it's gone. It's straight up gone. Purge registration trends alone point to being gone. Indiana, Ohio. Take a look at the election results. It's gone. West Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, the Deep South, of course. So these are the safe Republican states. If I miss one, we'll be doing it later. So these are the for sure, no matter what you do, you can nuke them, and they're still going to vote Republicans. So, guys, the people that say South Carolina is competitive, they're LTE lights. They're insane. So these are the safe Republican states. For the Democrats, guys, we're not competitive in the Northwest, right? You could make a case for Oregon to an extent, but I highly doubt that. Hawaii, Illinois, I gotta go with the swamp. Virginia's gone, guys. People that saying, "Oh, we can still win it," they're nuts. The Northeast, you could see like a state like Connecticut, Delaware, maybe New Jersey get a little bit closer, but I highly doubt it. I highly doubt to be within lean or likely margin, so it's not gonna happen. And Maine's first. So these are the safe Democrat states. Once again, you can nuke them. They're gonna vote Democrat no matter what happens. So for the Republicans, we have a couple likely states in a district. So Texas is likely. Now, I know people are going to be like, "Oh, what are you doing? Texas is winning Democrat. It's over. Texas will go Democrat by 2026. Well, first of all, Southern trends alone point to it being saved. I mean, you look at the Southern trends, Texas is going to be a likely Republican state for a long time. It's going to be a likely state for at least 15, 16 years, right? You look at the Southern trends alone, and even then, the Democrats are already starting to max out in the Dallas area. The Houston area, you already saw it. It actually trended Republican. You can look that up. Because it only swung like a point Democrat when the nationwide swing was 3 points or something like that. So it actually trended 2 points Republican, basic math. And you just look at the data. Guys, Democrats are maxed out in Dallas, San Antonio, not really in Austin, but definitely Houston. So they're not going to be that much improvements. In fact, they're probably going to do a little bit worse in Dallas, a lot worse in Houston. You get the point. And with the Southern trends, the El Paso trends, all that good stuff, Not going to happen for a long time. 16 years, we'll talk about lean margin. Anyways, so Florida's next. Guys, people are saying guys, it's gone. Trump won the state by 3.5. It's gone. It's not coming back to the Democrats. The Democrats have shut the doors on their offices down there. They've gutted all their volunteers. Everybody's missing. They lost a limb. Everything's gone in Florida. All the donations are running out. There's only a few grifter groups. It is over. The state is gone. It's a Republican state. It's becoming the next Texas. The hard-nosed, safe Republican state eventually. But for now, it's be a likely state. Would be safe under DeSantis, but that's a different story. So, guys, Miami-Dade. Just look at Miami-Dade trends. Look at even the Orlando trends and tell me that it's going to go back Democrat. No. In fact, most of the state trended Republican. Even freaking Tampa Bay trended Republican. Yes, it swung like a 0.1% Democrat. But just nationwide, it trended. So guys, outside of Jacksonville, and lesser extent Tampa Bay, the state's Republican. Just look at the trend map. That's all you need to look at. And of course, Maine second. Anybody that argues with that last one should just be thrown off a cliff. Alright. So these are the likely states. They have, technically have a chance, if the economy booms somehow, then maybe 1 to 2% instead of 0%. For the Democrats, I personally think it's going to be Colorado, Maine at large, and I personally believe that is it. I don't trust results of Minnesota, New Hampshire one bit, and I'll tell you that in a little bit. So these are the likely Democrat states, and, of course, districts. So, for the lean Democrat states, I think it's going to be Nebraska. I personally think New Hampshire also. The reason I say New Hampshire is you look at party registration trends, and you look at the fact that I highly doubt that New Hampshire is going to go back Republican for a while. Down ballot, it will. But it's becoming just Maryland people are just moving up there, or Massachusetts people are just flooding the state, and they're voting Democrat. Highly doubt it's going to be Republican for probably like 4 or 8 years. Maybe we'll talk about 2032. Maybe it could swing back. But as of now, I'm not seeing it. It's going to be like 2 to 3 point win for Democrats for a while. Lean state. New Mexico. Can't forget about that. It's going to be very close. And I'm making a video on New Mexico as we speak. So, you get the point. It's going to be close. Now for the Republicans. North Carolina and Wisconsin. They're lean. They could be considered toss-ups. But I highly doubt them to be toss-ups. Especially North Carolina. North Carolina, when adjusted to the national swing, trended towards Trump. That means if the nation voted the exact same as it did in 2016, nationwide, it would have swung like a point Republican. So the only way they could win the state of North Carolina, even Wisconsin, is they have to win the popular vote by 5 to 6 every single time. In North Carolina, you have to win by 7 to 8. So it's not going to happen. And with Wisconsin, same deal, but you just look at the southwestern trends. The state's trending heavy Republican. And yeah, there's some droppage in Waukesha, Ozaukee, Washington, but I don't believe Waukesha for a second. You look at the township map of the Waukesha area, and somehow Waukesha itself trended a bit Republican, but somehow the other parts trended Democrat. It's a mess. It doesn't make sense. And you get my skepticism. I live here. Trump won the state. Let's get on. All right. Or did he? I don't know. We are not allowed to talk about that on YouTube. So, now we have the pure toss-ups. Nevada, Arizona, I personally believe are become the next just hard-nosed. They're the next Iowa, essentially, in Battleground Map perspective. They are going to be down the wire every single time from now on. I mean, Arizona, it took Democrats to win the popular vote by 5.5 nationwide just to barely win Arizona. And shenanigans happened, but we're not allowed to talk about that on YouTube. Nevada, same deal. You found a lot of dead people voting. Or didn't vote, according to YouTube. So, you get the point that those two are the pure purple states. Las Vegas is going to be the kind of the city that determines everything in Nevada. Arizona, it's going to come down to the Phoenix suburbs. It's just a mess of a situation. Minnesota, I refuse to believe the entire trends of the state. I mean, people say, oh, well, the riots actually helped Biden in the suburbs of Minneapolis. Yeah, but Kenosha swung like 5 points Republican or whatever it was, and they had riots. And people are making the excuse, oh, well, you see here, it's because the riots were for a good cause in Minnesota. It doesn't matter what the cause were, it's riots! Anytime there's a riot in any city, it always swings heavy, heavy, heavy law and order candidate. Go look up Nixon. In 1960, 1968, the law and order candidate, or 1968 in particular, he was a pure, I am the law and order candidate. 1972 also. A heavy, heavy swung Republican. It always happens. Even Bill Clinton in the 90s, same thing. 1988, George Bush. So that's my skepticism with Minnesota. Now, Georgia. I believe some of the swings in the Georgia area, around the suburbs, but not by 15 to 20 points like they claim it was. Reason I say this? You look at just New York City, for example, swung 10 points Republican. The suburbs swung 15 points Republican, or whatever it was. But somehow Georgia, or the Atlanta area, swung 20 to 30 points in some instances. Some parts of it swung 30 points Democrat. While a lot of the rest of the state did swing a little bit Republican. And a lot of suburbs nationwide didn't swing anywhere close to the Atlanta suburbs. But again, I understand demographic changes. But not by 20 points in 3 or 4 years. That's absurd. So that's my skepticism with it. You could also look up a certain video on YouTube. Not allowed to say it. I'll probably link the description down below, but probably not. Now, Michigan. It's kind of a tilt Democrat state. Mostly because you got the Detroit area. You got the suburbs, Wayne County. It's just a mess of a state, essentially. And you got the trends, quote-unquote, in Kent County, Ottawa County, Muskegon County. You get the point that in Michigan, there are some suspicious results also. I'm not allowed to say it, but you get the point that I personally believe it's still a tilt D state, just with the demographics alone. And the fact that I just don't think there's enough numbers as of now to make it a lean Republican state. But in a couple years, probably. You just gotta wait a little bit. Pennsylvania's pure toss-up. I think it's still Republican. Reason I say this is simple. Energy is huge in Pennsylvania. And the fact that Biden's going after fracking now, the fact he's going after energy, is going to kill large parts of Pennsylvania. That alone, I personally believe, it will swing Republican again. Lots of the state will. And yeah, you got the suburbs that are swinging a bit Democrat. But at this point, I personally believe in an actual national environment without COVID, a lot of those swings would swing right back Republican. I mean, it's just some of those results in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Georgia, Minnesota, Nevada, Arizona, Wisconsin did not make sense. You look at demographics, you look at precinct data, it just did not make sense. Mostly. Some parts it did, some parts it didn't. But this is currently my toss-up map. Kind of a different video. I wanted to get my take on a lot of these states, make fun of the election mafia, and yes, hope you guys did enjoy. If you guys did, hit the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit the little bell, and yes, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video.